Greetings, guys. DFG.
James Peoples.
John Spates.
We're coming back at you. Part 2 of our conversation about fathers and not being, in the home. And we stopped off with James was kind of telling us, almost from I want to say legacy, but there may be another word. What happens when the grandchildren are asking about your dad?
It's hard to explain, because they see me in the role that I'm in, and it's hard for them to fathom that that's not what I grew up with. That's not how I grew up. I didn't grow up with my dad in the house, and why, all these other kids, can talk about their granddad and how great he was and what he does, and, and my grandkids now, Papa this, Papa that, they have someone to look at and, physically and see what he's doing on a day-to-day basis and what he can do for them and the future that he provides and creates for them. And I didn't have it.
Wow.
So it's hard for me to explain. I have my 10-year-old son, for instance, right now. He wants to know why he can't go see his grandfather.
Okay.
And I'm left to explain to him he's in a place that I don't think is conducive to your growth at this point.
Yes.
And now I'm left at a point where here I am talking to one of my sons that I always keep it 100% with. And I got to kind of sugarcoat certain things with him.
Yes.
And him being an extension of me, he's not accepting it now.
Yes.
So I'm left with the decision of, do I allow him to sit across that table from a man that he doesn't know and get to know him in the setting that he's in now?
Yeah.
And it's a really hard decision for me to make.
It is a hard decision to make because, who wants to be, and I'm not saying that we should or shouldn't, because at the right time, I know James, I'm sure, you'll sort through that and you're more than capable. I know this brother very well. He's a very intelligent man here. But you even have to take the child into a prison complex. That's you know what I'm saying? That could be somewhat traumatic.
Absolutely.
You follow me? Because it opens up, it shows them a world that we shouldn't have to look at. And you guys have heard me talk about incarceration before, in the United States. And there are more prisoners in the United States per capita than any other country on the planet. Yeah. And that's a reason that it's that way. Because they understand the damage that it does to the family. Taking, men and women from their children. They understand that what it does to the culture. You follow me? And so it leaves scars. And some of these scars can be generational scars. Yeah. That's exactly right. They don't go away. They don't just go away with, a little, you can't wash this one off. You follow me? You can't talk this one away. Mm-hmm. This is one that's there whether you want to see it or you don't want to see it, right? Yeah. And so, and again, it's about losing more than one life. And we're still talking about the $75 debt thing. And we're only using that because there are men who've gone in jail because somebody bumped into them. And they're in jail for murder because somebody bumped into them, guys. Because someone said something to them that they didn't like. You know what I'm saying? Somebody called them out of their name. And I guess we can really get down into the nitty gritty with the gang stuff. Just colors, a color red or blue.
One street sign to another.
Exactly right.
It's 2 streets over. I live on this street. I don't like your street because someone threw a rock at my girl or hit my car or something like that. And now here we got 2-3 generations still fighting that same fight.
That's right. Right.
Over, and this generation don't even know what the original issue was.
That's right.
You're fighting over the name of a street. 1, you don't own the street. 2, you don't even know how the conflict originally got started. But you're just carrying on because this is what history has told you to do.
And it's a strange thing because, in other words, this is how we're defining masculinity now.
Yeah.
It's protecting property that doesn't even belong to us. You follow me? And to the point where we're willing to kill behind it. Mm-hmm. And I know I was looking at something, we were talking about, again, another video about Chicago and the homicides in Chicago. And I know that's kind of off the subject and we're not going to get into that, the Chicago thing again, but they were protecting streets and corners and that kind of silliness. Yeah. And I do call it silliness because there's nothing intelligent, about that. There's nothing, beneficial about that. But Brother Jonathan, you have any thoughts around,
just gotta do a better job at being men, because it's not just about us. It's a bigger thing, and it's gonna affect your loved ones and your future generation. And it's about leaving a legacy, a positive legacy.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, and not having a father again, it's devastating. And in my situation, not only was it, and I told you why I didn't want it, but I'm 7 years old. I shouldn't have had a vote in that. I don't care if I didn't want him back or not. At 7 years old, you don't get the vote. You follow me? And you shouldn't even put, and trust me, I didn't have any influence of him not coming back. I'm sure he was very comfortable, with the decision he made. Because if he wasn't comfortable with it, he would not have allowed it to happen.
Yeah.
And far too often we have a lot of these men are saying, well, I would stay, but she was intolerable. Well, then okay, if you can't be with her, you still shouldn't leave your children.
Kids.
You don't leave your children.
Figure out a way that you guys can co-parent and make sure that the kids benefit from your presence.
No question about it.
Because they're the ones that hurt.
Your children are an extension of you. If there isn't such thing as reincarnation, your children, especially male child, that's a reincarnation of you. That old saying, the apple don't fall from the tree. That's really you allowed to live another generation.
Yeah.
That your sons are you. You follow me? And when you walk away from it, it's like walking away from yourself, like a man separating his body from his spirit.
Mm-hmm.
You follow me? Something that really should never happen.
That shouldn't even be possible.
A soulless man is a walking dead man. And that's what you are when you walk away from your children. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? Behind for any reason. Right. You follow me? Go ahead, John.
How did not having a father affect you guys and the road that you guys are on right now?
That's a good question. For me, I made a lot of poor decisions as a young man, even with relationships. I started taking relationships way too serious at too young of an age. I'm 15 years old, falling in love, and I think I'm falling in love, 16, and getting my little heart broken and all just dejected and, feeling unappreciated, undervalued, getting with people just to say I got somebody, thinking that, you know what, I got to do whatever I got to do because I got to keep this good. Where if I had a man, how he would tell me, so what are you talking about? You're going to meet several women, not women, but girls along the way. You're too young to get serious and break that down and help me to understand that. And so I became a father too early, quite frankly, Jonathan. I became a father before I was man enough to be a father. Mm-hmm. And so I couldn't be the best father I could have been, for my children. Because I'm at 20 years old with 2 children, 21. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to get into the depths of, you say we got one, well, I didn't get 2. Well, it's a long story, but it did happen like that. And so at that time, I'm hardly able to put food on the table for myself. And now I got to put food on the table for 2 babies and clothe them and all these other things. And, I figured it out. I had no choice. But that was one of the things, Jonathan, that affected me. And I had to create my own mentorship. I had to go reach for Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. I kind of had to almost make up my mentors. Yeah. You follow me? Well, my father should have been my mentor. The father is the mentor for the son. You follow me? Your son shouldn't have to go look outside of the household to find, manhood. Or what manhood looks like, leadership, all those things that makes for a good, male, right? But that's what I ended up having to do. And so, I bounced around into other little things. And again, just good fortune and fate kind of saved me from myself more than anything else, Jonathan. But it was rough. I can't tell you. It was rough. And losing a brother, to the streets and a sister to the street and 2 more brothers to the street. And I know that these things, that affected me indirectly because I know it wouldn't have been happening if my dad was in the house. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it was all kind of chaos. My mother, just, I don't want to disrespect her, but had too many people visiting, if I could say it like that, who shouldn't have been visiting. That makes sense? They weren't doing anything to us, but it was the reputation, the embarrassment, Yeah. I remember one time my friends came to us and they admitted, damn, Dale, how many daddies y'all got? You know what I'm saying? And if you can read into what I'm trying to say, you can figure out what they were saying. They all had fathers in their houses, and our fathers, like it was changing faces depending on the day of the week and time of the year. You understand that? Yeah. Brother John, hope that answered your question.
Just learning about life, just the importance of life, and just learning how to be a man. Just not figuring out myself, making mistakes, and, just learning about life. That was my biggest loss.
Yeah. So, we're going to bring the video, to a close, guys. We hope that we were able to, share some insight, and help. And this message again, as you know, we're working on building a culture with men of color. And so in men of color, that's who we're talking to you. Mothers as well. But men of color, we are talking to you. When it comes down to the other cultures, whether they're whatever other cultures, that's their business is their business. You follow me? We can't look to them to handle our business. That's our job to handle our business. And we can't get caught up in what they do or don't do and how, what they think and don't think. Because at the end of the day, no disrespect to them, but who the hell are they to tell anybody how to think? They need to figure, like those saying, you need to get the mold out of your own now. You got your own issues over there. And part of our problem has been looking over there, for them, to solve our, issues with us, for us. That's not their responsibility. And quite frankly, they already got their nose too far in our damn business. Let me tell it. Because they think they know every damn thing about us. And unfortunately, we believe them. And they don't know jack shit. For real. Jonathan, anything close?
Men be men. Be there for your family.
Brother James?
Don't leave it up to anybody to define who you are as a man. It's up to you.
All right, guys, we love you. Peace. Subscribe to the channel, guys. You think these conversations can be beneficial? Please share this information. Don't let this just sit between you, in the screen. Share this information. Get this information out. Maybe you'll save a father. Maybe a father will stay home. A life will be spared if they understand the consequences of poor decisions and what's valuable versus what isn't valuable. The street's not valuable. Your family is.
The streets don't love none of you.
Amen. All right. Peace, guys. Talk to you later.